here with Mandy from Riverside Floating Support, which is a service which tries to help people with housing issues, to try and prevent homelessness and those sorts of problems. So, Mandy, first of all, thanks for the work that you do, because there's lots of people with housing issues. Mm-hmm. What has been going on lately? I mean, what kind of issues are coming through the door here?
We're getting a lot of people who are suffering with cost of living, the cost of living increases. The utilities are pushing people to having to access food banks more because the money's going on the utilities rather than going on the food that they need. Just on Tuesday, just this week, down at Noah's Ark, I had 6 new people. 3 of them were from a sheltered scheme. So because of the cost of living, and then obviously with the bus strike, they've not been able to get to the more valuable shops, so they're having to shop local, which they just haven't been able to afford. So they come and access the food bank.
So you can refer to food banks, but I mean, is your main role to try and stop people losing their housing?
It is, yeah.
Because people, you know, obviously the rent is one of the things that they've got to pay, but if you're trying to keep warm in the winter or feed yourself,
yeah.
I mean, it then becomes...
Yeah, that's not a priority. We work with them to try and get rent paid direct to the landlords,
right.
So that they've got a roof over the head, and then deal with the other issues then. Because if it's a toss up between money and feeding the family or paying the rent, the money's going to go on the family, it's going to go on the essentials as they see it. What we do find as well is if you do get into arrears, if it gets referred back to Universal Credit, they take a big chunk of the money then, because they see it rightly that they need to keep a roof over the head, but then they haven't got the income coming in to pay the utilities or buy the food then. So it's like a decreasing circle.
So I mean, we've had the cost of living, the energy price cap announcement today, which has put the energy sort of average price up to £3,549 from October. I mean, what impact do you think that's going to have on people who are coming?
It's going to be catastrophic. People, they either won't eat, or they won't put the heating on. They won't, you know, it's going to be one thing or another for them.
Yeah.
We're seeing it now. You know, people are getting into arrears. There isn't the funding available to help with the arrears. Some utility companies do have trust funds, but they've got to be in £1,000 worth of arrears before you can access that to help them to clear it. So when they've got sort of £400 or £500 debt on it, whenever they're chopping up the meters, it's coming out of that. It's coming out of what the top up is, and there's no sort of in between to help them. So they either sit with nothing, which people have. They've come in and said, you know, I go to my daughter's for a shower, or you know, I want to boil a kettle and have a wash down with a kettle. And what they don't understand as well is even if they're not using the gas or the electricity, the standing charges have gone up.
Yeah.
Because they've doubled in this area, haven't they?
Yeah.
So they're still having to pay and they don't understand
why. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all going to have more people to help, and as you've said, it's juggling one demand against another, and it's not always easy to see the way out.